The Wholecloth Patterns Logan Bag has a drawstring closure that is woven through eyelets around the top of the bag. The mini Logan uses 1/4-inch eyelets and the standard Logan uses 7/16. The installation process for the two sizes is the same. Today I'm going to demonstrate how to install these eyelets so you can use them on your Logan bag or any sewing project. I've linked to the Logan bag sewing pattern and the supplies that I'm using in today's tutorial in the notes below the video. Now, let's get started. Each eyelet is made of two pieces. The taller one is the decorative piece that goes on the outside of your bag, and the one with the prongs is the facing that goes on the inside of your bag. The facing fits around this raised cylinder in the middle of the outer piece, and you basically sandwich your fabric between the two pieces. You use the included tool to mold this cylinder down around the facing, and that's what holds the eyelet to your fabric. The tool included in the kit has this donut-shaped base, which is kind of dished out to hold the decorative outer piece of your eyelet, and this T-pin that you insert into the middle hole of the eyelet, and then you hit the top of the pin with a hammer, and that molds the two pieces of the eyelet together. It's a nice compact way to install your hardware. You'll also need a hammer to install your eyelets, and I usually work on top of a piece of wood or a cutting board so I don't damage my work surface. I've already marked the position of my eyelets with a simple dot. I'm going to center one of the outer pieces of the eyelet on that dot, and then I'm going to trace the circular opening with a chalk pencil. This indicates where I'm going to cut the fabric away to install the eyelet. This is a pretty small circle that I'm going to be cutting out of many layers of fabric. So I've pinned all the layers of fabric together on either side of where my eyelet's going to go. Now I can either fold this circular mark in half and clip across the middle with a pair of scissors, or I can lay it flat and cut an X into that circle with an X-Acto knife. I'm going to go with the X-Acto knife option because I have more control over the layers of fabric. So I'm just going to cut an X across this circle with my X-Acto. When I'm certain that I've cut through all the layers of fabric and batting, I'm going to cut off the flaps of the X with scissors. Now that I've cut a hole through all the layers of fabric, I want to make sure that the cylinder in the middle of the outer piece of the eyelet fits through the hole. This hole is a little bit too small, so I'm going to use scissors to trim it a little bit wider. I want to work incrementally because it's better to have a hole that's a tiny bit too small than a hole that's too large. Now my eyelet does fit through the hole in my fabric, so I'm going to stop there. I'm going to reposition my bag so that I'll be working from the inside when I install the eyelets. To install the eyelet, I'm going to use this piece of wood as my base, and I'm going to put the base for the eyelet tool on top of the piece of wood. Then the outer ring of my eyelet goes into the base, and it's kind of dished out to fit this raised ring in the eyelet. So I want to make sure those two are nested together. And then of course I have the fabric on top of that, and then I'll add the facing around this inner cylinder of the outer eyelet, and I want the prong side to be facing the fabric, and I'm going to make sure that it feels like it's aligned. Now I'm going to insert the short end of the eyelet tool into the hole in the eyelet, and then I'm going to hit it a few times with the hammer. You can see how the cylinder part of the eyelet is rolling down toward the facing, but the two are not snugly connected yet, so I'm going to keep hitting it with the hammer. Now the two pieces of the eyelet are really tightly connected. I can't wiggle the back facing. I'm finished with this eyelet and I'm ready to move on to the other eyelets for this Logan bag. I'll link to the Logan bag sewing pattern and the supplies that I used for this tutorial in the notes below the video. Be sure to click subscribe to follow the Wholecloth Patterns sewing channel.